What's up, guys? Holding that Atlas with you here, bringing you Sword Art Online Season 3 anime review. This is episode 18, entitled The Legendary Night. This was a really good episode, as it continues from last week, when Yujiro entered into that bathroom, and he seen that old man, in that hallway, and the hallway has it's like a stairway, but there's like 4 little corners that has like hot water in them, with some gargoyles spitting it out and stuff like that. And the man, he was bathing, but he got ready on this episode. And him and Yujiro start to, they start to throw swords, I guess you can say. And, really interesting, Yujiro, this guy asked him, are you from the dark territory? And he was like, no. And he told Yujiro, this legendary night, that, people from the dark territory uses his style of consistently attacks. And he's like, what? And he's like, yeah. And Yujiro was really confused, but he decided to ignore that and just charge in and attack him. And the guy used his technique, and we saw like a wind slash go right through him. But he didn't really do anything. And Yujiro, when he was about to hit, we seen another energy wave. We probably seen it, but I don't think Yujiro was able to see it. I think that was for the audience to see. But it was like this extra wave, and it hit him, and it slashed him almost in half, and he sent him flying to one of the baths. Luckily, he got up real quick and used his healing magic on himself. And the old man explained to him, when I first began becoming an interrogator knight, I used to have to fight a lot of knights from the dark void, or the dark continent, as they call it, I guess. But basically his point was that he fought so many and he lost because of their style of constantly attacking while at the same time blocking. He was having trouble, and that's when he came out with this sword technique. And basically his sword, what it does is that he basically manipulates time. Like, if he throws a slash, the slash would not be received to you until a delayed time. So he's delaying his time. So the attack might look like they're coming at you fast, but they're actually coming slower. Which means if you rush in at him at high speed, he can most likely catch you 100% of the time. That's exactly how he caught Yujiro. And he also states that where his sword can cut time, Alice's swords can cut space. So that's very unique. And after all this talking, Yujiro able to, heal himself almost completely. And he got up and he went for all these spells he was just casting. And the guy was like, oh, so now you're going to go a long distance on me. That won't work either. And Yujiro did that ice thing where he's he make the whole field ice and he summons a pillar of ice at you. He did that while running at the guy. The guy destroyed the pillar of ice. And then Yujiro slapped the pillar of ice in his face. The bubble. But what he did not know, the old man, the legendary knight, what he didn't know is that when Yujiro did that, at the same time, he threw his sword in the air, and it got stuck, because it froze. And after he, should have swung the debris in his face away, Yujiro came in and, bear hugged him, and they both fell basically into the bathtub. And I'm watching this, I'm like, what is he gonna do? And it made sense. After he pushed the guy into the bathtub with him, he used his thermal system call, and he thought the ceiling to make the sword come down. He grabbed it, he stuck it in the water, and he froze everything. He froze him and the guy in the water. And then we find out that the last episode was kind of like this too. We get more kind of I guess you could say Bleach references, because we find out that all the swords have 2 commands. In a Yu-Gi-Oh flashback, when him and Kirito was talking to Catalyst to get their swords technique up. All the swords got 2 techniques. They got enhancement and they have release. Enhanced weapon is their first special, which is more controllable. And then the second version, release, releases your weapon to go almost, I wouldn't say wild, but it releases it to its fullest potential, basically, or when it's half potential. Just like Shikai and Bankai from Bleach, if you can see the poster back there. And it's funny because last week was the same thing. It was a whole bunch of Bleach references, so Seeing that in this episode was awesome as well. But he basically, what Yu-Gi-Oh did was, he caused the release. The ice flowers, the blue rose, they bloomed, and it said the sap. When they bloomed, they sapped all, living energy around them, including himself. But he said to the guy, since I'm younger than you, and you seem older than me, I will have more life energy than you, which means your energy would deplete before mine's. And that's the only aspect I have that I am better than you in, and my only chance of winning. And the guy was trying to get cocky and trying to muscle out of the ice, but he couldn't. And when him and Yu-Gi-Oh are getting frozen by that ice, as you see in the thumbnail, we get this weird looking clown dude comes in, talking trash. And he also states that this legendary knight, which I can't pronounce his name, but I believe it's Bercel, we found out that he could have actually defeated Yu-Gi-Oh in one hit if he would have used his other technique, his release technique, which he did not use. And he even called him a traitor for not using it. And the clown guy, we know he's the chancellor. So I guess you could say he's second in command after the prefects. And he was like, we don't need you no more. And he cast this weird system call spell on him and turned him into stone. And Yu-Gi-Oh like, what's going on? And when Yu-Gi-Oh sees this, he starts to go in a deep sleep because he's losing life energy because of the blue rose effect. It affects him as well. And then the guy says something creepy before Yu-Gi-Oh faints, and he was like, we don't need you anymore because I have a new test subject. And he looks right at Yu-Gi-Oh, and Yu-Gi-Oh falls asleep, and I'm like, oh no. Kirito is now befriending Alice, but he's gonna lose Yu-Gi-Oh. So it's like, instead of this two guys trying to save the princess, it's more like the princess saving her best friend with a guy. So it's like, I see them both eventually are gonna both have to fight him eventually. Or maybe Kirito might have to fight both Alice and Yu-Gi-Oh. Who knows? But that was really creepy and scary, and I'm like, oh man, all this for nothing. I knew it was kind of weird that Yu-Gi-Oh was putting up a good fight against his legendary knight. I'm like, he's not that strong. Without Kirito, he shouldn't be able to do this, but now we know why. The guy was actually holding back a lot. So it makes sense now why Yu-Gi-Oh was able to beat him. But now I feel bad because it's like I said earlier, now it's like instead of Yu-Gi-Oh and Kirito trying to save Alice, he's gonna turn around and Alice and Kirito will have to save Yu-Gi-Oh, and just like, oh, someone always have to be saved, right? It's not sort of online if someone doesn't have to be saved. But I'm very happy about the Bleach references. I'm really happy that, I'm not sure if they're getting these references from Bleach specifically, because Shikai and Bankai mean soul release and spirit release, so which one is greater than the other? So, and their techniques are enhanced weapon and release weapon, so it's kind of similar in that aspect. Like I said last week, Alice, her blade has a lot of resemblance to Captain of the 12th division from Bleach. Captain, I always forget his name because I don't like him, so I don't bother remembering it. But Rukia's brother, Byakuya, it's kind of like, it's Byakuya's and Rengiku's. Alice's sword technique is kind of similar between those two. Where, Yu-Gi-Oh is like a mix between Rukia and the Ice Captain, Hizugaya, and then you have Kirito, who's just like Ichigo. So it's funny. Then you have this dude who has time manipulation, which, if I'm not mistaken, there was a character in Bleach that his quirk was able to manipulate time, but that wasn't a non-Kanye saga, so I don't think that counts. But still nice to see that being shut out. And also in the end, we got Kirito and Alice talking for a little bit, and he brings out some dumplings, and he would almost burn them. So, Alice had to take them and heat up the dumplings, and she basically showed him how to do it with magic. It took more than one fire spell. But when they're eating, he mentioned something about your little sister, and she gets upset and she chugged them. And basically it ends off with Kirito telling Alice about herself. And she did say, if you say anything that's lie or deceitful, I'm going to cut you down. But he just smiles at her because everything he says is the truth. So that was basically the end of the episode. Really great episode. Love the art and animation. Love the new opening and ending song. Can't stress it enough. I have to watch it like 2 to 3 times each. Kind of worried though again about Yu-Gi-Oh. It seems like he's going to be like the next villain now. And not Alice, but we're going to have to wait and see. And again, I'm loving all the Bleach references and stuff, but yeah, this was a great episode, episode 18. If you haven't seen it, go see it. If you haven't seen it, go see it again. Great episode. Great stuff. I'm loving all the system call techniques and which are basically their version of spells and all the enhance and release stuff with the swords. Love it a lot. Some of these characters got OP abilities with their weapons, but that's another story. But leave your thoughts, comments, and opinions down below. Tell me what you liked about this episode or what you didn't like. Follow me on my Twitter account. Link will be down below. Like, comment, share, and hit that notification bell to get more. And I'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.